I want David Buster's. David Buster's. That's it. That's what I want.
Welcome, everybody, to our Thursday study session for July 13th. And first item of business is we are going to adjourn for executive session under potential litigation. So it'll be about 10 minutes. So we're looking at,
Let's say 11:15.
11:14. We'll be back. Okay.
Action.
City Council is extending its executive session 5 minutes until 11:19 a.m. They will go back into their study session once they are adjourned from executive session. Oh, I got tripped up there.
wrongful actions by city officials. And Council President Beggs and Chris Wright, well, Council President's not here. Chris Wright will be presenting. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Yeah, I won't take more than 5 minutes. This is a draft ordinance prepared internally to just start a discussion on police immunity issues at the local level. As drafted, this would create a direct cause of action against the city for injury caused by police officers who actually are complying with city policy or training, but nonetheless it results in some kind of harm. It's modeled after House Bill 1025, which was considered during the legislative session this spring, but didn't make it much further out of committee. And I understand that there are similar provisions in Colorado's sweeping police reform law from 2020, which will probably inform some of the conversation about what this does by way of exposure and so forth. This should be considered just a discussion item only. Legal has only had a few days to actually look at this, and it needs a comprehensive analysis out of legal before any other steps would be taken. Not the least of which is the financial exposure for the city created by an ordinance like this, and its ability to secure insurance for that. So it's the first step, and I will leave it up to council to direct me as to whether they want more analysis out of this or anything else related to the ordinance. But as a favor to the outgoing council president, I've promised I would give a brief overview.
Great, thank you, appreciate it. All right, we're going to move on to our presenters, guests, drug recovery and prevention programs for youth. And it's the West Spokane Wellness Coalition. We've got 20 minutes for you. Welcome. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you so much. My name's Sarah McNew, and I'm the Coalition Coordinator for West Spokane Wellness Partnership. We have been in the community for about 10 years. I'm so happy to be here today to not only raise awareness about our community coalition, but also substance prevention within the West Spokane community.
Hello, I'm Audrey Curtis. I am the coalition chair, and thank you so much for having us here today. So who we are, as Sarah said, we are a community coalition made up of volunteers. We've been serving for the last 11 years. We are members of, Our members consist of social workers, business workers, media, schools, law enforcement, government, organizations, and healthcare, behavioral treatment agencies, and that's just a few of us. We are dedicated to eliminating barriers and increasing community connectedness, access to prevention services, and protective factors to reduce substance use and misuse in West Spokane. We also promote community health and wellness. So what we do, we provide free Narcan kits in the community. We have community collaboration. We do have after-school programming, advocacy, and policy work groups. We do family programming. We do social-emotional curriculum, medication lock boxes, which is just to safely store medication out in the community. We do mental health education, awareness, advocacy, and programming, grief support groups, and promote prevention. So the need, we have seen, and also our data shows that many youth are having mental health disparities and are using substances. We've also been working with many schools in West Spokane, and they have been asking us for specifically help with vaping and mental health issues and grief and loss. We've also done a needs assessment in West Spokane, which has shown that there's a lack of resources for the youth, especially youth who have no insurance or have not had a crisis or don't have a diagnosis. So we really want to prevent the issue and get upstream of the issues before a crisis occurs. We also have a huge opioid and fentanyl crisis here in Spokane, so we really want to help prevent that and reduce that. So here is some data. This is from the 2021 Spokane Healthy Youth Survey here in Spokane. This is for 10th graders. If you look at that first bar, 70% have felt anxious or nervous in the past 2 weeks. So to give some perspective, in 2021, there was 2,092 10th graders, and so 70% of that would be 1,466. So that's a lot of students. So yeah, there's a huge mental health crisis here in Spokane. And then moving on, so this is our vaping data. If you look at that first graph, looking at 12th graders, that was the highest one, which was 15%. And so in 2021, there was 2,248 seniors enrolled, and 15% of that would be 322 students. So still a lot of students using vaping products in the last 30 days. And if you look at that second graph, this shows what students were vaping. That first bar would be 66% was nicotine. And then if you look at the last bar, which is really concerning, was a lot of the students didn't even know what substance they were using in their vape. So yeah, scary. And then, so our main thing that we really want to focus on is prevention. So for every $1 spent on prevention, we save $4 to $7 in treatment. So we really want to focus on preventing the issue before it occurs, not only on a money spending wise, but also just to help the student in general.
So in the last fiscal year alone, we have distributed over 200 Narcan kits. Our coalition during COVID, during the pandemic, we became a Narcan distribution site. We are one of the only coalitions across the state that is a Narcan distribution site. So we work really heavily to increase education around opioid overdose response, and Narcan specifically. We distributed over 400 medication lockboxes to community members to reduce opioid overdose and consumption inside of the community itself with youth, and accidental and intentional overdoses as well with opioids. We have a policy work group. We worked really closely with the Spokane Parks Land Committee this past year, and we passed an ordinance for no smoke, tobacco, or vape inside Spokane parks. And we also installed signage in all of those parks. Not knowing yet the firsthand, secondhand, or thirdhand health disparities related to vape exposure, we wanted to try to get upstream of that issue. We took back over 150 pounds of medication this year alone by hosting medication take-back days. And we are the Community Coalition of the Year for 2022. And then we also create our own curriculum and implement those curriculums inside the community, such as grief and loss support groups and youth mental health support groups, to alleviate some of those gaps that we're seeing in the community, specifically with youth, as well as evidence-based programs as well. We implemented Strengthening Families program and Guiding Good Choices. These are family management and communication classes, specifically for parents and caregivers inside the West Spokane community. They're evidence-based, and we've seen really great outcomes for youth, not only for families having great communication skills after the programs. This winter, we actually implemented Teen Connect. It was a youth mental health support group. So our data was showing us that youth in our community, as you saw, were having high rates of mental health disparities. So anything from suicide ideology to attempt to ongoing anxiety, worry, that sort of thing. We wanted to mitigate this. And so we partnered with Northwood Middle School. We implemented a youth mental health support group, and we saw decreases in students feeling useless. We saw a positive impact on feelings of worthiness, and most of the students, they wished that Teen Connect was offered every day because it was a safe and supportive space for them, and it helped to reduce stigma around mental health within their school system. We implemented Not on Tobacco, working with local school systems, which is an evidence-based program that works to create awareness and coping skills with youth around smoke, tobacco, vape. Right now in our community, we don't have a lot of resources for vape, and as you know, we do have a vaping epidemic going on. And so this was one way that our community coalition came in with substance prevention funding to work closely with the schools and youth to help provide a resource that they needed. We're currently looking for any available funding. We do a lot of work in the community. We are action-oriented and data-driven, and we work in a collaborative manner. So like Audrey said, we work with sectors of representatives from the community: law enforcement, social workers, parents, caregivers, nonprofits, aging adults, healthcare providers. And we work together to identify the needs in the community and then also work in an action-oriented way to meet those needs. And that could be anything, like we said, from implementing evidence-based programs, social-emotional learning curriculums, family programs, to developing our own content and curriculum and implementing those in the community. Everything we do is evaluated. We, on an ongoing and consistent basis, we're always evaluating for outcomes and effectiveness in our programs and strategies. And working to also advocate for things such as additional funding, but also resources in the community to alleviate gaps and barriers. We work really closely with our tribal and native partners and youth centers to implement after-school programs and cultural acquisition activities as well as community events and family events. We have social media pages. West Spokane Wellness Partnership is on Facebook and Instagram. We also have our website listed up there, as well as my email address and phone number. And we just want to thank you guys for taking the time today to learn about our coalition, but also hear about some of the data in our local community related to substance use and misuse, as well as mental health. And we hope that if you guys have additional funding, opioid, cannabis, drug forfeiture funds, that you would think firstly of our community coalitions and our collaborative networks to help meet the need in the community. And thank you so much for having us today.
Thank you so much. We have a few questions, if you
Yes.
don't mind. We're going to start with Councilmember Bingle.
All right. Well, thank you for the presentation. I appreciate it. Is there any way we can see the data and the assessments that you were showing? If you could share those with us, that would be fantastic. Because for us, as we're making any budgetary decisions, obviously seeing effectiveness is going to drive our decisions on, if you're just absolutely crushing it, then hey, maybe we have some more money for you. I have a question for you on your the education that you do in schools. Can you talk about that a little bit more and possibly any partnerships that you have with the police? Because one of the things that we are looking at doing is drug prevention work with our drug forfeiture dollars, or with the cannabis money, or with the opioid stuff. I mean, we have a lot of smaller pools of money that we could potentially, that we're looking to drive in that direction. So if you could expand on any partnerships you have with the police, or some more of the education in the schools that you're doing about not doing drugs.
Yeah, so some of the programs we implement in schools presently are evidence-based social-emotional learning curriculum. So historically, for example, at North Central High School, we've implemented Too Good for Drugs and Botfin life skills, which teach everything from dealing with anger, anxiety, to refusing substances, to dealing with peer pressure, that sort of thing. We have local law enforcement officers that are representatives on our community coalition. Historically, we've partnered with them on medication take-back days twice a year, where we partner together to take back unused, unwanted, and expired medications in the community so that youth don't accidentally or intentionally overdose on those medications. And local law enforcement also distribute Narcan boxes and free medication, Narcan kits and free medication lock boxes for us presently as well.
Great. Go ahead.
I guess I'm just curious, and thank you for all the work that you're doing, because I think it's really important. And as Councilmember Bingle said, we are looking at doing some type of funding for programming to help, discourage drug use and whatnot. But I'm wondering if there was, kind of just thinking outside the box, if funding wasn't really an issue and you could kind of put together any program that you kind of wanted to, is there sort of a upstream silver bullet that you think could work, that could really help to dissuade kids really early on from entering into this? Is there kind of any big audacious ideas that you guys have that, if resources wasn't an issue, you would love to explore?
So we're visionaries, but prevention itself is the resource. Just getting upstream of the issue early on with evidence-based programs, innovative programs, with connecting youth to school, community, their families, resources, culture, that sort of thing. We know that prevention works, and it helps prevent those things early on. Right now in our community, we have a huge need for youth grief and loss services. The pandemic, a lot of youth lost parents and caregivers, or loved ones, friends, that sort of thing. And we don't have any grief and loss support groups for youth that are offered in an accessible space, whether it's school settings, libraries, community center settings, where transportation is not a barrier, where we can meet youth where they're at. Same thing with youth mental health services. That is one thing that we've been working towards this last year, is creating youth mental health support groups, again, in accessible spaces where youth are at. Those would be the two huge things that I would love to continue advocating for, and if we had funding to sustain those things and increase access to them, not only in the West Spokane community, but the larger Spokane community as well. Audrey, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would say too, start prevention like in elementary school. If you start the education really early, it's more likely they're not going to start even with substances using, or if there's a mental health crisis, they have those tools and the coping skills to deal with what's going on. So I think just starting a lot earlier, so in elementary school, so if we could get into elementary schools and do that kind of thing, but yeah, we don't have the funding for that as of right now, so just having that funding to do those things and do it in a larger scale, I would say, because there's only so many of us
Well,
and so much money.
I did DARE, I think, in 5th grade, and so, I think that probably is a good time frame for that sort of work to happen, so thank you both, appreciate it.
Go ahead.
But do you remember what DARE stands for?
Wrong.
Something education.
Drug abuse resistance education. That's all right.
You have a,
That had nothing to do. I'm
is that
sorry.
what your
Yeah.
question was?
No, my first question was legitimate. My second one was.
Okay. All right. So, anything else from the group? A small group, but we're important nevertheless. So,
Lively group.
yes, a lively group, unruly group. So, thank you so much. We appreciate. And if you could, any other information you have, pass it on to Jacoby or just directly to us. That would be great.
Okay. That
Thanks
sounds
so much
wonderful.
for
Thank
coming.
you.
And next up is end of the year financial report with Ms. Wallace. And I've got you down for 25 minutes. Okay.
That was a typo.
A little typo here.
Oh, I was like 25. I have 5.
That was a typo. Okay, thank you, thank you. This is the end of year report that was provided electronically as well as in paper form on June 1st. These are very valuable reports because it really measures how we did, what our budget plan was, that was the policy plan, compared to what we actually did. So these reports are very important, but it doesn't quite end with this. These are unaudited. The audit is underway. Michelle Murray and her team they've spent months and months, and on March 30th, all of these financial reports were then submitted to the state auditor's office, and that audit is underway. And that audited financial presentation will be provided to you, well, the deadline is September 30th. So hopefully that will follow a little sooner than this report is following from June 1st. But as such, there are a couple things that I want to point out. One is, yes, the numbers that you're seeing are unaudited, so they are subject to change pending that process. Also, the numbers, unlike the financial statements, include encumbrances. Now, why would they include encumbrances? Because that is a better measurement against the budget. Encumbrances are really because we ran out of time at the end of the year to complete the acquisition, the purchase, or the contract that was approved with those budgeted dollars. So that's why we're comparing and including those. What is excluded? So we have one inclusion, we have one exclusion too. And those are the unrealized losses or gains. And that has been the city's practice to exclude those from this report. So with that preamble there, some of the things that I'm going to cover very high level are the 2022 highlights. Then we're going to focus most of this report on the general fund, but it is worth noting a few special revenue funds, enterprise funds, internal service funds from a high level. How did we do? So the 2022 year was a very robust year, and there was a lot accomplished here at the city, a lot of things that we should be very proud of. And I'm going to read these because it is kind of small. I'm not going to read them entirely.
We have, Jacoby sent around the report, so you've got it in your email if you want to.
And thank you, Jacoby. You can see, and I just focused on these three primary areas, but public safety, a violent crime task force and stolen property unit, sit and lie ordinance, our ability to really enforce that, restructured the policing staffing model that did take many, many months to do and became effective January 1st of this year. We moved and transferred the fire EMS regional to the regional emergency communications for improved efficiencies and to save taxpayer dollars, and supported the renewal of the EMS levy for another 6 years. There were many other things accomplished in public safety, but these are some of the highlights. Looking at housing and homelessness services, established BOCA. We've had a lot of great discussion about that, and it is working very well and became a national model. Updated the multifamily tax exemption program. This is for really targeted areas and realignment of those areas. Filled 8 vacant positions in CHHS. There was a lot of federal and state funding coming through, as well as some of our regional dollars, and we distributed more than 40 million of these dollars for homeless and human services. We also launched the Homelessness Plan 2.0. This one was introduced very early, I believe in January, February timeframe of 2022, and continued on with many, many discussions, and then in August, September, track opened.
So Tanya,
Yes.
I'm reading this, and it says Trent Resource and Assistance Center, a public-private partnership. Who was the private part?
That would be Greenstone. That is part of the lease arrangement.
Greenstone?
Oh, Larry Stone.
Larry Stone, sorry. Yes.
Okay. I wouldn't have thought that that's a partnership because we're paying him, so, okay.
We are. This was, remember, the track was after 100 other property locations were reviewed and considered. So this was a partnership, and the property was acquired for our use. We are leasing it from him, but at the same time, that entity is also investing in some other improvements to that facility. But we can get more information.
We'll talk about that
Yep.
later, because
Yep.
I don't agree.
Economic development, we opened many of our branch libraries that have been on slate for some time. So now we see the fruit of all of that labor. Expo 50 is coming up. Those partnerships with stakeholders began to develop during 2022 and continue on. The public development agencies and business improvement districts, we continue to support their efforts. And in fact, we, specifically with the PDAs, we came up with a methodology, and part of our planned use of fund balance was to pay them and invest in them based on that payment methodology. Invest in regional and neighborhood parks, and parks completed a master plan for future growth. So you're going to hear more about that as we continue those efforts. And then many street improvements, too many to name, of course, but Hatch Road Bridge Deck and Thor Freya corridor projects were completed. Again, many things have been accomplished in 22. It was a very good year overall. Now let's look at the general fund, specifically on finances, because this is a financial report presentation. So as you can see, just on the revenue side, we've grouped these into taxes. That is primarily property tax, sales tax, and utility tax. Charges for service, because these are our programs. And then other revenue, which includes grants, miscellaneous revenues, fines, forfeitures, interest, things of that nature are grouped there. We did exceed $4 million in revenue over the budgeted amount. $2 million of that was in sales tax. So even though sales tax is slowing, what we really saw in 2022 was the entertainment sector picked up a lot of steam. We had a lot more special events coming to town. We had a record year with lodging tax, and that it appears to also continue, even though retail might have slowed a little bit more. And it was $12 million more than the 2021 actuals. So moving in a very positive direction, at least at the end of 2022. Policing service reimbursement outperformed, and this is really in your charges for service. There was quite a significant increase in charges for policing services there as the community returned and new events were actually added to the array. And then other revenue. So higher interest rates comes with a double-edged sword. We earn a lot more interest income, but it also impacts us on inflation. on the expenditure side. But we did see a significant increase in our interest income. So looking at the general fund expenditures, again, by category, so not by division, we're going to get to that. You can see personnel, supplies, and services. Supplies and services also includes what we pay for internal services that go to our internal service funds. Capital and debt, you can see, spend very little out of the general fund for capital and debt. And then transfer outs. So transfer outs, this would be parks, library, police and fire capital, to some of those areas. So it was under budget by about 2.5 million, but it also exceeded 2021. The primary purpose for both of these coming under was personnel savings because of vacancies. We're still very challenged in filling positions. But also, why we're over 2021 personnel, we had 4 labor agreements that were agreed to during 2022, and many of those had retro pay, significant retro pay. And that was part of the near 20 million that was in planned use of fund balance. So when that unappropriated fund balance builds up, it's acting like a savings account, that's the set aside, and then we spend it out in the retro pay. That last bullet down there, you can see part of that double-edged sword I was talking about with interest rates are used to combat inflation. Well, we also felt the impact of inflation, particularly in fuel costs, equipment, and for parts. Now, if we look at expenditures by division, and I'm not going to go through all of this except maybe by color. This is also on page 5 of the report, if you'd like to see bigger, but color-wise, if you go to the far column of actual to budget difference, I'm really going to kind of focus there. Red means savings, it was underspent. Black means it was overspent. The underspend in most parts is really with the vacancies. In non-departmental, you will see that there was a small overspend. That is largely attributed to the fact that for our vacancies, when we discount that, those are those contra salaries and contra benefit accounts that we have for budgeting purposes. Well, in 2022, the entirety for the general fund was in that non-departmental unit. Now, so the budget is not there. The budget is heavily discounted. So the actual has resulted in that difference. Now, what might be in non-departmental, you might be thinking, those are costs that we don't really attribute to any single department, like animal control or election costs, things of that nature. A lot of citywide subscriptions or contributions that really aren't attributed to any single program that can go anywhere else. I am going to talk a little bit, since police was the other area that did go over budget, we felt it was important to have a little bit more of a conversation about police and what was going on there. This is a special appendix in your report. Police actually, what we've put into the report are a look at 4 funds that police operate out of. Operations are primarily focused in the general fund and the public safety levy fund. So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. But there is fines and forfeitures fund. They primarily use that for equipment, as well as the police CIP for equipment as well. Those are in the appendix, and we're not going to talk about those here. The heavy focus is on operations. Now, when you look at the general fund and you look at the net, again, resources, so there was a planned use of fund balance. And then the shared revenue, that's really just the general fund proportionate share that was for police. But you will see police program revenue. And I briefly mentioned that when we looked at the general fund revenue, that policing service reimbursements were up. And you can see that there by about 1.1 million, they were up. that helped cover some of those costs that you're seeing down in personnel and operating costs for a net difference or net impact to the general fund of about 1.1 million.
And why were they up?
Do they ebb and flow? Is that
Reimbursement for services?
Yeah.
the revenue?
Well, I was talking about reimbursement because in the past, we haven't had that. We've had to bill, and sometimes we get reimbursed, sometimes we don't. So are we being more diligent about billing, or why is that up?
That is a great question, council member. And just what I'm seeing through the numbers is that, yes, there were more events, more reimbursement, extra duty. A lot more businesses were also wanting police services, so we were getting a lot more reimbursement, and we were also billing more timely.
So
on
we were
that.
being more diligent about collecting.
I believe so, yes.
That would be note to self. Okay, thank you.
Yes, it came in very positively. I was very happy to see that, and it did cover some of those additional costs that then you see down below that exceeded the budget. It helped cover some of those costs. So really, the net impact to the general fund was that 1.1 million. When you look at the public safety levy fund, the net impact was a savings of 738,000. And that's their total operation. So from a divisional perspective, it was a net loss of 381,000. And we've touched on police in greater detail of what's happening in 2023 several weeks ago. So to close out the general fund, I thought it would be very good to kind of just look from 2017 through 2022, 2022 still being unaudited. But what you see happening on the bottom line in that blue line, net operating surplus, this does take into account what was planned and approved for the use of fund balance. In all cases, the actual use of fund balance was less than the planned use of fund balance. So how that happens is that more revenue comes in than anticipated, and or we save on expenses beyond what we anticipated as well. So it's a combination of both. And then that net operating surplus or deficit, and the only year that you see that deficit in truth is in 2020. That was the pandemic. When everything closed, we lost millions of dollars in sales tax revenue. So we did take a loss. Now, the analogy that a lot of people are really comfortable with is this is your checking account, and that net then flows into the savings account. Here's your savings account and what's happened over that same time period with your savings account. So your savings account really has a couple different categories. If you think of it on your personal basis, when you have a general savings account, you might have a vacation savings account, a Christmas savings account. Same thing in government, you have different categories. The first one being non-spendable and restricted. So these will be your state and federal grants. You can't touch those. Or it's going to be something you can't spend, like inventory. It's not spendable. You have encumbrances. So these are contractual obligations that we have taken on. And you can see encumbrances will change and fluctuate from year to year, just depending on what the encumbrance is. Then you have reserves. There are 3 reserves. And you will note in 2019 is when we increased those reserves. Now, when this increase took place was actually in about April of 2020, right when the pandemic was enveloping us. And we certainly believed at that time it was most prudent to shore up these contingency reserves in anticipation of what we didn't know at the time. So you see that increase there, and then in 2021, we kept going and increased it a little further. Since then, it's remained relatively flat. Well, has remained flat. Then you see your unappropriated fund balance, and you see how it has changed over this time frame. Again, in some of this time period, you'll see the biggest change in that will be the retro pay. The unappropriated fund balance is like the savings accounts, and I think Councilmember Kinnear, you've often said that money was set aside. Here's where it was set aside. This is the savings account, is used for those purposes. So it accumulates, and then we pay. In 2020, we had a lot of the retro pay for 5 years of policing services. So you see a significant drop there, as well as the pandemic impact that you saw in the previous slide. And then 2021, and then in 2022, you do see the dip. We did plan on using more than 20 million of those fund balances for various purposes, but we didn't actually use all of that. So the ending balance for 2022 unaudited is about 7.5 million of those reserves. Interesting, I have that bullet down there of GFOA in a 2023 article has come out with, should we rethink reserves? And this was a very interesting article that we're going to take a closer look at, because a lot of agencies do use reserves for savings, but it is also mostly used as like an insurance policy. And so it's to take a look at it from a risk-based perspective. Certainly reserves, like in the case of retro pay and such, or for a large capital investment, you might also use for savings, but savings are intended and meant to be spent. It's some time they're meant to be spent. So it would be ideal, and this is what we're going to look at it, is how much needs to be put aside for risk insurance mitigation, and how much do we want to do for intentional savings of initiatives, which I believe that was the strategic reserve intent that City Council had at that time.
So we also have to consider that our bond rating is tied to
Yes.
our reserves as well, so it's not just about us.
Well, I'm just doing some quick math in my head here. So if we were to go to that 16.6% in there, we're realistically about $4 million away in reserves from being at 16.6%, correct?
Yes, we are a little short.
Right, but it's only $4 million. It's not.
Only.
Well, no, I understand, but you know what we've sort of been told in these ways is that it's like tens of millions that were away, and so it's much less
For
than
a
what.
25% target, I think,
Yeah,
is
we're-
where
our
it's
target's
measuring
25.
against. Yeah, yeah. But my point there is that GFOA has, and they actually have worked with several cities and come in and helped cities with the analysis to size up what size should this city be versus another city versus another city. And it really does depend on your revenue structure, whether, you know, the type of economic or financial risks that you have. It depends on your insurance structure, whether you're self-insured. It depends on many, many factors.
So kind of thinking about the insurance or liability piece of that, if we were to do something like that, would it create sort of another fund, a reserve fund that would go in to be separate from sort of the unappropriated reserves?
It
Is
could.
that-
It would depend on a lot of. We already are self-insured for many things. We already have the self-insurance there. So for like a catastrophic, I will say for a catastrophic event, say a windstorm seems to be, at least since I've been here, our biggest risk right now. Now we do have other risk of an earthquake or other catastrophes, but windstorm seems to be the one that we're going to have a higher probability of hitting. But FEMA has covered a lot of our windstorm costs. So part of the insurance related to windstorms is, okay, how much should we be insuring ourselves against on a windstorm? Well, it should be for the non-FEMA reimbursable items, not in an entire windstorm event, if that makes sense.
But right now, if we had that event, it would come out of the contingency, most likely. I mean, if it was a serious earth-shattering type cataclysmic event, that would be the fund where we would pull from, right?
It could. We would be seeking reimbursement. So it'd be more of a cash flow issue, not
Okay.
this balance issue.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to transition a little bit. Of course, if you have any other questions on that, we can always revisit it. Special revenue funds. So you're going to see for the next 3 sets of fund categories for special revenue, enterprise, and internal service, it's really by division. But if you wanted to see the details of exactly what those funds are, because there are numerous, we have numerous special revenue funds, you can look in page 6 through 9 are your special revenue funds. But by division, so when you look at neighborhood housing and human services, they probably have the greatest ups and downs, and it's largely because of the federal and state funding that flows into those items, those funds. And they will also have the biggest difference from year-to-year actuals as well as from actual to budget. Just depends on the timing of those reimbursements. And we're only recognizing revenue as the reimbursements are happening. Fire Special Revenue Fund. I do want to point that out. They're the next big ones up there with $76 million of the budget, $72 million actual on this chart. So it does give some impression that, oh, there was budgetary savings. Well, some of that is really the timing of recognizing for some of the revenues, particularly for the combined communications building. We still need to recognize some of that revenue. That has not occurred yet. And then there was also and you're going to see that on the next slide too, a prior period adjustment for the retro pay. So it's on the balance sheet. It's not on the income statement. This is reflective of the income statement. And then non-divisional. These are your special revenues that aren't really attributed to any division, very much like in the general fund, non-departmental. ARPA is the biggest fund in that category. And ARPA is the primary reason for that actual of $60 million and $87 million difference. Again, even though we received the cash, we're only recognizing the revenue when it's earned and we're spending it or allocating it. Here's on the expenditures. This follows very much like the revenue. Costs follow that. So same thing, you're going to see neighborhood housing services are going to fluctuate from year to year, really depending on what's happening with the grants and how much of that is being reimbursed to those contracts. Fire special revenue, this is where we're still on the CCB capital, the combined communications building capital, and then the recognition of that retro pay, again, on the balance sheet, not in the expenditures. One of the other things that I do want to note when we move into these other funds is that we don't budget for depreciation, but we do have it as an actual expense, so it can throw off some of the analysis. So if you have any questions about why a difference is what it is, and I haven't disclosed that in the year-end report, please feel free to ask me. Happy to work you through any of that. And then, of course, non-divisional is largely ARPA and at the timing of when we're recognizing the expenses that line up with the revenue. Enterprise funds. So I do have some details up there, 3 primary groups, community and economic development. There's really only one fund there, that's the Development Services Center or building permits. Really, they did a great job. They were just a little bit short from a budget or target perspective on revenue, but exceeded last year. And this was a second year, 2022 was the second year with record demand for services. Parks and Recreation, this is their golf fund. You see everybody's back to golfing. We exceeded the budget target by $1.4 million, in addition to exceeding last year's revenues. Public Works Enterprise Operations, so that's your water, sewer, integrated capital. They largely outperformed revenue and attributed to utility assistance, and then millions of contributed capital from development activity. So you can see their actual looks significantly more than the budget amount. So nearly, when we looked at the line by lines of the funds, they nearly all had personnel savings relative to the budget. But where we didn't see any red flags, but where you're going to see your actual to budget differences is largely with depreciation and contributed capital that's moving between the funds. But no red flags there. Everybody did very, very well compared to our plan.
Could you talk for a minute about, we had personnel savings, but there's a downside to not having positions filled. That includes people who aren't working, aren't contributing to pension and that sort of thing. So could you talk briefly about that?
I'm not sure if you want more information, but yes, contribution.
So it's not always a great thing. It's got some positives in that we're not paying, but there are some negatives too, and we just have to be aware of that. So in the future, let's kind of talk about that so that we're aware of, here's the downside to having less employees.
And that is also very much, I view it as a double-edged sword, because if you don't have the bodies in the positions, then they're not also included in the actuary analysis that sizes the contributions that need to be made.
Right.
But it looks like there might be a future discussion on pensions coming. So looking at internal service groups, and this is the last group that we've got time to talk about today. But internal services, so this will be, you see communications, this is really your reprographics. Under F&A, Finance and Administration, this is accounting, purchasing, and then you've got human resources, police capital and fire capital. I should say, under Finance and Administration, there's also facilities and fleet. Those are really your bigger two departments under there. And then Public Works, Utilities Administration, and then Innovation and Technology Services. But in terms of revenue, this is really a function of reimbursement. So it's only based on what the actual costs are, and then all the paying funds reimburse into these internal service funds. So if our costs are down below, so will the revenues come in lower. I will say 6.9 million of this underperformance on revenue is really over in police and fire capital. You can see the budget amounts were combined about 11 million. Only about 5 million was actually received into those funds. And that again goes to the timing of the transfer of ARPA is going to be when those pieces of equipment arrive and the bill comes due. Here's on the expenditure side. Overall, it was underspent. That's largely personnel, contractual services, insurance claims. So your benefits are included in this, not necessarily the pensions, but a lot of our insurance claims, this was probably the largest, almost 6 million if I'm remembering correctly, of underspent on insurance claims. So that was a very good thing, a very positive year for us. When I exclude depreciation, we're looking at almost 17 million of budgetary difference.
Hey, Tanya, just
Yes.
curious, what percentage would you guess of communications is reprographics versus everything else?
I believe that's almost entirely reprographics.
So would like Channel 5 fall under communications or?
Yes. It's My Spokane is the majority of that.
Okay.
So it's reprographics and My Spokane.
Got it, okay.
My Spokane, because they do handle calls for all the departments, the way that cost gets allocated is really based on the calls, and most of it goes to the utilities.
Okay.
So as briefly as I can, that kind of sums up the presentation. Certainly welcome any follow-up. Pensions do seem to be something that we should probably take a little closer look at. The report can be found online. And then the final, just a reminder of the audited financial statements will be coming forward. Upon completion of that audit, you will get that full report.
Okay. Any questions for Tanya? Okay, you know where she hangs out, so. All right, appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if there's nothing else, we are adjourned. We'll see you all Monday on the 17th. It'll be a little bit different. There'll be 6 of us instead of 7. And I will be sitting in the hot seat. So we'll see you all then. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.
target's now on Lori's back.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I took it personally, Jonathan, that you moved all the way over there.